Everybody, so we've laid out the game board. We have our 2 dice, we have our ship markers, we have our wake tiles, and we have our daikaiju tiles. So you shuffle up the wake tiles and the daikaiju tiles, you lay out the board. Beautiful artwork on the board, by the way. And then you pick a color ship that you'd like to start with. So the game starts by placing the daikaiju tiles. So depending on the number of players that you've got, you pick up a different amount of these daikaiju tiles, which are basically dragon tiles. So that's 4 right there. We're playing with 2 players, so you need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's that. If there were 5 to 6 players, you'd place 5 daikaiju, and then 7 to 8, you place 4. So because we're playing a 2-player game, we're going to put 6 tiles out. And how this works is you take the dice, shake them up, roll. And what you do is on the grid represents the dice color. So this is a gold die, this is a blue die. The blue die represented over here on the blue numbered side, and the gold up here at top. So you find the die numbers, so 5 gold and a 6 blue, and you find the connection on the grid. The game is basically broken down into a grid, and you, at that point, once you found that spot, which is here, 6 blue, 5 gold is that intersection, you randomly spin that, place the tile, and flip it over. And that is where you'd place your daikaiju tile. So we'll do one more. 6 and 2, so 6 blue, 2 gold. Randomize it, it goes like that, and that ends up there. So to speed the process up, I'm just going to randomly lay them out. You would normally place the tiles carefully, or not carefully, but you roll a die for each one. Just for the sake of speed, we're going to lay them out just like that, and we will move on to the next task. So the next part is everyone takes their ship and they lay them out onto one of these white marks on the edge of the board. So the rules say that the oldest player is supposed to play first, so we'll say red is older. He decides he wants to start over here. It then passes around in black's turn, and black decides that he wants to start right here for his place. And then you give 3 wake tiles to each player. So there's 3. The players can look at their tiles. They're secret from the other players, and they can look at them anytime. Otherwise, the game says keep them face down. You could probably hold them like a deck of cards if you want. There's not really all that much interesting on them. They basically have 4 sides because they're square, and there's 2 tracks on each side. So you'll always have 2 tracks on each side, like this one does. Here, 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 here. They're all the same like that. However, they're all randomly generated as to where the tracks go. These things are called wakes, and these wakes are basically where the ships travel along in front of them. Just to show you these. So there's kind of a weird one, and everything was like that. So we'll keep these face up for now. And so basically, after you've set everything up, the game's very simple. It's 4 turns, or 4 actions that you can take in a turn. So to start off, the player rolls the 2 die to see if the daikaiju tiles, which are the dragon tiles, are going to move. So he rolls those, 6 and 6. If the sum of the 2 die are a 6, 7, or 8, the daikaiju move. So this is the sum of 12, so they don't. So it's only on 6, 7, or 8. So let's see if we can... There's a 5. That's also no good. I might be out here rolling forever. No, this is gonna fall off. Let's see. There we go. We have a 10. That's also no good. There we go. So we finally rolled an 8. I'll probably edit that in. So we'll have magically blurred to an 8. It took far too long. So on an 8, what happens is you rolled a 6, 7, or 8. So now you know that these things have to move. So you take 1 die, you roll again. And on a roll of 1 to 5, you do the corresponding number. You start, basically all the daikaiju, we'll leave this guy here, have a number on each of their directions, and they have a number for their rotation. And they're all different from each other. I think that was there. It doesn't really matter. So what happens is you start with sequentially the lowest rotation number. Like this one's a 1, this one's a 3, that's a 4. So you start at the 1s, and gold always goes before blue. So you find the gold 1. There's a gold 1. We've rolled a 1, which means that you find the number 1 on each daikaiju tile, which is here, and you do that action. So for 1 for this one is a rotation. You rotate. That's what the little swiggle here means. Then you move on to the next number that you can find. There's no other 1s. There's a 2 right there, and there's a 2 there. So the gold always goes before that. 2, the 1 is on the side, so the tile moves like that. Move to the other 2. It goes down because the 1 is there. Then you go to 3. There's a 3. And the other 2 are 4s. 3. 1 goes this way, right there. 4s, gold always goes before blue. So 1 goes here. Still on the board. If the daikaiju move off the board, they're eliminated from the game. They're taken basically off the game board and shuffled back into there. And then this 4, the 1 moves up like this. The 1 is right there. So that's it. And the daikaiju can, if 1 moves onto another one, the bottom one, the one that's stationary, is replaced by the one that's moving. So if this one were to move over, I would remove that tile, take it off the board, and this one would take its place. So that's what happens on a rolling of a 1 to 5. If you rolled a 6 for the daikaiju movement, you add a daikaiju tile. And you do it exactly the same as the start of the game. I would roll these 2, and I'd get a 6 and a 3, which is here. I would place the daikaiju tile. I would randomly do the thing. In this case, this daikaiju tile, since it's going onto a stationary daikaiju, would remove this one, and that one would be there. If it managed to roll a space that was not, you would just add the tile to where it belongs. So that's the rules of how you place daikaiju tiles. So we'll put them back. So that was action 1 of red right here. So part 2 is that you place a wake tile. So he's moved all of his daikaiju accordingly, and now he gets to place a wake tile. So he looks at his hand, and he says, I want to stay away from this area, basically, because these things are going to randomly start moving around. And any time that a daikaiju moves onto a ship, you basically lose. And it's the last player standing is the whole point of the game. So let's say we'll put a wake tile here. This ship was right here. After you place the wake tile, you move down the wake of the one that he was sitting on the second away from this one, so you put it there. He moves down that wake line, and he ends up right there. He goes as far as he can, basically. And there's a couple of rules about wake tiles. You can't put wake tiles that would cause your ship to go off the board unless you actually absolutely have to. You travel as far as possible. You can't connect another wake tile so that if a ship was down here, for instance, if this was move this guy for now. If this was here and the other ship, it was this ship's turn, we'll say black wanted to lay down, it was right here. You can't put a tile here because that ship is already occupying the end of that wake. So that would be no good. We'll start these. I'll put red back over here. Give him back his tile. Black will go down here again. So we've placed that in there. And again, the rules are basically last man standing. So you want to keep your ship on the map as long as possible, not getting hit by any daikaiju. And what would happen is if the daikaiju would move, say this one was here, and this player went and rolled and caused the daikaiju movement, and it was a 3, the daikaiju movement would move over here. It would take over the wake tile. Any wake tile that is covered on or moved onto by daikaiju is removed. Any ships that are on that wake tile are out of the game. The other aspect that could happen is, say this ship was here, and say it's red's turn. Red causes daikaiju movement by getting a 3. This one would move here. Since red is the active player, he is now out of the game because he, after causing these daikaiju to move, would have to place a wake tile, and he can't place a wake tile because this dragon tile is in the way. Say, for instance, this were to happen. We had 2 ships on there, and the same thing happened. This moved over due to a 3, and on red's turn, red's the active player. Red is eliminated from the game. However, black is not, because it's not black's turn yet. Black still has a chance when he rolls the die to cause daikaiju to move, and potentially it could get back out of the way, allowing him to place a wake tile. So just because it moves in front of 2 ships, only the ship that's active turn that is forced to currently put a wake tile down and can't is eliminated. The other ship still survives for a little bit longer. If they are both on there and the daikaiju moves over onto the tile, they both lose. We'll put that back there for now. So that's pretty much the simple rules of how to play this. We'll put this here. Say that went there. And that would be the end of placing a wake tile. The ship moves as far as it can, and that player draws a wake tile. And that's it. So now we'll move on to black, and we'll do a quick turn here. So you roll the die to see if the daikaiju move. We got a 4 and a 2. That's a 6. So they do move. 6, 7, or 8 causes their movement. You roll another die. You got a 4. So what happens? You start at the lowest number, which is here, the 1 gold. 4 moves down like this. Are there any other 1s? There's not. So there's 2s. This 2 gold beats the blue 2. That moves up there. Oh, he rolled a 4. I'm sorry, forgive me. He goes down. He goes there. And now it's the other 2. He rolled a 4, so that ship is safe. Had potential to be eliminated if he had rolled a 3. And now we find the 3. There's a 4. And now it's the 4s. That one goes first. It's a 4. It rotates like so. And this is also a 4. And it rotates like so. So he's rolled his die. He's moved his daikaiju. Now it is black's turn to place a wake tile. So let's say he wants to stay down here. He doesn't want to move up here. So he's going to put this. He's going to figure out how he can actually lay down his tile. He'll decide he'll go like that. Move to the end. That's as far as he can go, and he draws a wake tile. So, for a few things, I suppose that's left to manage. You can't cause, you basically always have to stay on the board. You can't put down a wake tile that would cause you to move onto a daikaiju or off the map. If you have a tile that can move you anywhere else, you have to play it. The only way you'd lose is if you had no tile that had an option to avoid danger. At that point, you would lose. You'd have to place one of the tiles. You'd move into either daikaiju or off the board, and that would be the end of your game. And the winner is the last player standing. So we'll do one more turn here. You got a 5. Now that 5 is not a 6, 7, or 8, obviously, so the daikaiju do not move. So all that happens is this player can now place a wake tile and move down. He's going to place... He could not place this here, because that would cause him to go off the board, right? He would go up and off, so that's no good. He could do that. He could not do that. Or he could do that. Let's say that he decides to do that. So he was here. He now moves over here. And that's that. And so the last player standing is basically the winner of Tsuro. And you have incredible bragging rights to go along with it.